direct line to me. So if I'm at my desk, it'll say I'm online, and you can write me a little message with me. We can chat. This is really handy if you're on the page anyway. You might be having a question or a problem. Just go down there and, I can't get into such and such. If it says I'm offline, like this is now, you can still leave a message. You can still type something into that box, but it's anonymous. I won't know who you are unless you tell me. WorldCat is our catalog times 40-some thousand. Okay, this is our collection is in here. So are the collections of over 40,000 libraries all over the world. If there is a book or a report, if there is a physical object that's in a library, it's cataloged in WorldCat. But I wanted to just do a quickie search to see. I did the phrase "No Child Left Behind," and it finds 2,700 things, 1,699 of them are books. It sorts them by the things that are owned by the most libraries. So when you're searching WorldCat, you'll notice right here, this libraries worldwide, and then there's a number. You'll notice this one has a little tag. We have it. Okay. This is why when I say if you're sort of just looking to see, hey, what's out there in the book world, I wouldn't necessarily go into our catalog because you're going to find out what we have anyway. Using WorldCat, you're going to find the stuff we have. To find it on the shelf, you'll have to go into our catalog. We've got to have the column, but you'll at least know that this is information. I will point out one thing while I'm in WorldCat before I leave it behind, and that is this get it. We don't have this book. If you want to get this book, this is still a form that asks for your name and your email address. Submit it. ERIC is produced by the U.S. Department of Ed. It is actually a free database that's out there on the web. We provide access to it through one of the library's database platforms. And the reason to do that, the reason why we do this, and why I would suggest using it in this way, is because through other subscriptions that we have on this same platform, you're going to have access to a great deal more full text of articles and things that you would have access to through the freebie side of things. Okay. So, but ERIC is out there. You will always have access to ERIC, whether you have access to a library with subscriptions to databases or not. ERIC's out there on the web for your tax dollars. Now, in the case of the first two, phrase searching and I would, okay, I use what I would describe as the seatbelt rule on these, okay? If you're driving across the country, start on the east and you go to the west. Some states have rules, have laws that require you to wear your seatbelt. Some don't. You might not know what states have what. You'll go into the Indiana state line and you don't know. Do they require seatbelts here or not? It is never unsafe. It is never wrong to wear your seatbelt. Okay? Sometimes it is always safe. It is always right to wear your seatbelt, whether or not it's required by law or not. Okay? Some databases require by law. They will not work unless you put your phrases in quotes and you combine words or phrases that you want to search with the word and. Okay? Some work fine without these things. Okay? But you're not necessarily going to know unless you read all the help files. Okay? So following the seatbelt rule, just always put phrases that you want to search in quotes. Okay? And if you want to find two things, put an and in between them. Okay? This works in Google. This works if you're trying to find something that you've lost in your network files somewhere. It works in the Microsoft Office search function. This works everywhere. Okay? It's universal searching rule. Anything that you want to find, a phrase like no child left behind, and you want to find it just like that. You don't want the word no, the word child, the word left, and the word behind. You want no child left behind. Quotes. So I'm in ERIC, so we'll look at it. Stuff in ERIC really comes into two categories, which I refer to as by their little, they have, what are they called? Session numbers. They have these funny little numbers, some of which start with an ED and some of which start with an EJ. Documents and journal articles. Okay, the stuff that's in ERIC can be divided into two categories. Journal articles, okay, which have little codes that say EJ, and have citations like you expect a journal article to have. It's in the Journal of Educational Leadership, February 2006, yada, 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 right? And then there's the EDs, the ERIC documents. And these are all conference papers, they can be MAT thesis papers written by students somewhere. They can be documents or research reports produced by districts, by schools, by state education agencies, anything. There are lots of stuff. Okay. All of the ED stuff, after a certain date, which is a constantly changing date, and therefore I do not honestly know what the current cutoff date is, but it's pretty far back, maybe 2000 or so. Anything after that time that's an ED, there's actually going to be a link to a PDF of it in here. Unless it's a book that's, a copyrighted book or something, and then there's not. And there's several more journal articles and another document. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about those documents before we get into the journal stuff, and a little bit more about the indexing in ERIC. So when you pull up a record for an ERIC document, you'll find, title, author, source. This is an online submission, so this is something somebody just submitted into ERIC. How long it is, and if that's not what I meant to do. Gives you a publication type. This is opinion paper, report, evaluative. Have to look at it a little bit more to figure out what it was. That might say monograph, which is a book. That's a conference paper. Okay, could say any number of things. But usually this publication type will give you some sense of what it is. And then there is the full text. There is also going to be a link to interlibrary loan. Okay, look for the full text before you do this. Okay. I get lots of requests for interlibrary loan that when I get in to go, and because these come to me, when I get in to go place them, I discover they're in full text screen. Another thing I want you to point out are all these descriptors that are here, okay? As you do your searching, you can get, and this, for some subjects, this works great. For some subjects, it's not as useful. But if you happen to be one where it appears to be useful, be watching what these are, okay? Because, and they've got sort of some nuances to them. Be watching for subject headings that come up again and again in your search results. Try doing searches narrowing down by certain things. So I just want to jump out real quickly. Up here in ERIC is their thesaurus. And I sometimes grab the book. We actually have the ERIC thesaurus, an old version of it. There's a little scope note that describes exactly what they mean. But this is useful enough. You get in here and you see that academic achievement is a narrower term than achievement. Achievement's a broader term. Narrower terms of that would be student promotion, educational attainment, or and then related terms. And this is what's really useful. This is what I really love about the thesaurus, because it'll get you into these other things you may not have been thinking about. Related terms: instructional effectiveness, science achievement, achievement rating, intelligence, advanced placement, knowledge level, student characteristics, class rank. These are terms that someone who is interested in academic achievement might also be interested in these things, or might actually be interested in these things, okay? It's a way of expanding your vocabulary a little bit and thinking about other terms